Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope that you guys are doing well. I am recovering from the COVID, doing pretty well actually. All things considered, I feel great.
Wow, what a feeling.
We are quickly approaching the end of the year. I mean, a few months is all we got left really. And when you get this far into the year, there typically aren't any big surprises at the end.
No surprise here.
You know, I would be absolutely shocked if there was a massive release announced before the end of the year. Typically, those announcements are done earlier in the year, and the latest point that brands like to launch things is in August, toward the middle or end of August. Anything past that, and they kind of miss out on the entire holiday buying season, at least as far as getting the word out there, getting the advertising out there, all that stuff. So that's why toward the end of the year, you'll see some scattered releases here or there announced, but usually not like earlier in the year. Because you know, earlier in the year, you'll get like boom, 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 just bombshells of huge releases announced. Toward the end of the year, it's just nothing. Now, as of when I'm shooting this, Aaro Synergy is gonna come out any day. It's already online, it's already on Versace's website, it's just not readily available for sale. But any day now, that's gonna come out. And I imagine when it does, that one's gonna jump right into the top 10 most popular fragrance releases of the year. So before that happens, this little snapshot in time, I wanted to take a look at what the top 10 most popular fragrance releases for men in 2024 are. So the ones that have been talked about the most. And it's actually kind of surprising. A lot of these I did not expect, and fragrances I did expect aren't in there. So kind of wild actually. I'll let you guys know which ones I think deserve to be there, which ones I think don't. And this is with the usual caveat that as time goes on, this will change depending on how people react to the fragrances. More people buy them, talk about them, they're gonna move up. Less people talk about them, they fall off, they're gonna move down. And I'm using Fragrantica to determine this list. So it's their top 10 most popular of 2024 as of right now. All of these will be linked in the description. Feel free to check them out there. Let's get started with number 10, Aaro, the most wanted Eau de Toilette Intense, which I have to tell you guys, the atomizer on this.
Oh! Ew!
Dude! It's terrible. So bad. This one, the most wanted Eau de Toilette Intense, obviously supposed to be a fresher entry into the most wanted line. And I have to say, just to my own personal taste, it is not as good as the original The Most Wanted or the Parfum iteration. I like both of those more, but not exactly apples to apples, is it? Because those fragrances are more warm, rich, deep, sweet scents that are for fall and winter. This one is more spring, summer, probably fall also. And while this does have sweetness to it, it also has a bit of that fresh laundry sheets kind of feel to it, vaguely reminiscent of YSL Myself. There's also a green aspect to it, a little bit of a floral aspect, but yeah, it's kind of in that Myself ballpark and that style a little bit. Note breakdown's really simple. It has liquor, moss, lavender, and bergamot, I believe it is. If I'm wrong, whatever, sue me.
Catch me outside, how about that?
It's a really wearable fragrance, very versatile, but I think for a lot of people, they were maybe hoping that it did something a little bit more different, something newer. It's one that I personally think is good, not great. I like it, don't love it. In the top 10, if it were my personal picks for best of the year, I don't know that it would make the top 10, but seeing it in the top 10 in terms of popularity makes sense because the Aaro, the most wanted line, is really, really popular. And I do like the look of the bottle, just that atomizer. Now, before we move to the next fragrance, guys, here are some codes you can use to save yourself some money. The JOMASHOP codes are only good through mid-September, then they will change, and they're only good in the JOMASHOP app, so be aware of that. The Max Aroma codes changed as well, and then we have, of course, the Fragflex codes, Perfume Box, all the others. So use those codes if you shop at any of those different fragrance websites, save yourself some money. And also, if you're on TikTok, follow me there. Get a little brain rock going on, a little doom scrolling. Nice. I am Gents on TikTok, so pretty easy to find. I haven't posted there regularly ever, but I decided to start doing that, so check me out there if you're on that app. All right, number 9, here we go. It is Hermes H24 Herv. Now, if you have followed this channel for a while, probably know I'm not the biggest fan in the world of the H24 lineup. That being said, I really like the opening of this one. I think it smells awesome. Super green, fresh, sweet, while still having that H24 backbone to it. You know, that kind of like metallic, steamy, aroma chemical vibe that it has. This is one that off my skin, as it dries down, it doesn't smell as good in the opening. So that's unfortunate because the opening I think is, again, just really good, the best of the bunch. It's just as it dries down, it doesn't smell quite as nice to me as when it first opens up, but it still smells better than the original Eau de Toilette. And while I haven't always loved the H24 line, I give Hermes a lot of props, a lot of credit for putting that out. Because you can tell they wanted something that was versatile, something that people would hopefully buy, wear, and buy again, and wear, and buy again, and just keep doing that. I mean, that's how Sauvage and Y and Bleu de Chanel and Aqua de Jo and all these lines make so much money. Repeat customers. They buy it, they wear it, they like it, you know, repeat. And they wanted something that could do that, but they wanted something that was a little different. And it is different. Nobody's gonna smell this and think, oh, this smells like Sauvage. Or if you do say that, you should have your fragrance card revoked. Top 10 for me, I'm not the best guy to ask because again, H24 just is not necessarily my thing, but I do like the direction they've tried to take this. We'll see if they can improve it with the next one, if there is a next one. Number 8 is the Scent Elixir, and I really like this one. This is a good one. This one would be in my top 10. The only knock that I can give this is that maybe it's not different enough from the Scent Magnetic. That would be the only thing. Red pepper, lavender, sandalwood. That's the note breakdown, very simple, 3 notes. Herb Vive also actually has a really simple note breakdown. All the ones so far do. There's another one that's pretty sweet, good performance on this one. So you have to like a fragrance that's gonna really push out there and last for a long time. I'm a fan of the Scent line. I do kind of wish they would go back a little bit to incorporating the Meninka that they used so prominently in the past, but all things change, I guess. But the Scent Elixir, top 10, that makes sense to me. Number 7 is Y Elixir. So this has lavender, geranium, and oud, along with, I think, incense as some of the notes in the scent. And yeah, this one obviously was really anticipated before it came out because the Y line is massive, and now they're coming out with the Elixir version, right? So that's gonna be the direct competitor to Sauvage Elixir, or at least that was the thought process. You know, Y Elixir, Sauvage Elixir. And they had made mention in the write-up for this one from the brand that it was using like tons of natural ingredients, the highest quality natural ingredients, and that it had oud in there that was gonna make it, you know, darker, deeper, and then it came out. Priced the same as Sauvage Elixir, so really expensive, close to $200 for a 60 ml size bottle. And the fragrance itself is not really a darker, deeper, richer, more elegant, more powerful Y. That's what people were expecting. It's not that. It's actually really fresh off the top. It smells fine. It's not that it smells bad. It's priced as a high tier halo level designer fragrance that should be competing with, again, Sauvage Elixir and like the biggest of the big boys. And you smell it and you're like, oh, it's like a fresh kind of Eau de Parfum thing.
Disappointed!
You know, like it slots somewhere in between Eau de Toilette and Eau de Parfum almost. And you just kind of gotta be like, what? What? You're gonna charge me the most for this one when it's not that different. And it definitely is lacking a lot of what you were pushing in the marketing. So again, this one smells fine. It's the type of fragrance that, yes, would get you compliments, yes, is versatile. The question just becomes, is it worth the price that they're asking? And to me, it's a hard no. It's not even close.
The answer is hell no.
Because when you get something, again, I keep making the comparison, but it's obvious because of the lines. When you get Sauvage Elixir, that smells like a higher end fragrance than Sauvage Eau de Toilette, for example. It's doing its own thing, massive performance, right? Sexy, elegant, grown, sophisticated, all those things. This is not that. And there were some people that said at the time this came out, just wait till it's discounters. When people can get it for really cheap, then they'll love it. And I would say, yeah, if you could ever get this for cheap, or could get it for Y Eau de Toilette prices at discounters, then yeah, at that point, scoop it up. As of this video, it's still like $145 at discounters for a 2-ounce size bottle. Still ain't worth it. Number 6, Scandal Pour Homme Absolu. Do I think this one deserves to be in the top 10? Oh yeah. Mirabelle Plum, Chestnut, Sandalwood. Again, a dumbed down scent breakdown. Almost all of these, not all of them, but almost all of them are hitting us with those hyper simplistic note breakdowns, which I love to complain about like an old man yelling at clouds. This stuff is fantastic. This stuff is great. This will absolutely make my best fragrances of the year list whenever that comes out. Really, 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 really like this. It's rich and warm, little gourmand touch to it. It drops a lot of the aromatics that you're gonna find in the other Scandal fragrances, which I think also work really well. They've always done well for me. But this takes that DNA, drops those aromatics, adds sweetness. It's also got a little freshness off the top as well. Good performance. A little bit reminiscent of like bits and pieces of the Stronger With You line, Scandal, the original ones, 1 Million Lucky, just a few different things, but it's doing its own thing as well. So when you smell this, it does not smell the same as any of those. It's just if you like those, you can find something you like here too. Oof, man. This stuff is good, real good. I would put it higher. I think fall, winter time, this is a gem. Number 5, interestingly enough, Invictus Parfum. And I'll touch on some of the ones that were left out before we get to the number 1 ranking, because there are some surprises here. Like I said before at the beginning of the video, some big surprises. And truth be told, I was surprised to see this one so high at number 5, but it is pretty good. I know it's gonna catch some hate, catch some flack because it's an Invictus fragrance, and that automatically means that, you know, some people are gonna really hate on it. And with designers in general, a lot of times newer releases will get a good amount of hate, especially people that dislike sweet fragrances, because a lot of the ones that have come out here recently are on the sweeter side. The scent Elixir, for example, very strong, very sweet. So if you're somebody who doesn't like that, you're gonna, you know, write that one off. Could do the same thing with this one. So yeah, I get that. And I get where people are coming from who don't like that current style. But Invictus Parfum, even though it is an Invictus, and even though sweet fragrances are really the thing right now, is not overly sweet. I mean, of course, they have to have a little bit in there, right? Because it's Invictus, but that's not really the main selling point here. It's fresh, aquatic, aromatic, has kind of a soapy aspect to it as well, and it's reminiscent of Invictus Legend to an extent. Really good longevity, like you would expect from a Paco Rabanne fragrance, and solid projection as well. I actually love the look of the bottle. This little redesign that they've done, I think looks cool. So this is one that I was surprised to actually like when it came out, because yes, I love Victory. I love Victory Elixir, but some of the earlier Invictus fragrances I wasn't huge on. But this one, that kind of Invictus Legend with a twist, I dig. So I don't mind seeing that one where it is at all. Number 4 is another huge surprise. Assad Zanzibar, there we go. Assad Zanzibar from Lattafa. One of the things I remember about this one is that, how the like casing over the bottle is not quite snug, so mine just rattles around when I pick it up. And this one is interesting because there were a lot of pros and cons to this when I first got it in. And I will say really quickly that if you have this one and you did not like it and you just kind of sat it to the side and you let it macerate, it's my favorite thing to say, go back and check it out again. It does smell better now. It is still real sweet, quite strong, and some people are gonna think sickeningly sweet off the top, but it does smell much better put together now that I've owned it for quite a while. One of the things I did not like about this one when it came out was the pricing. The pricing was no bueno.
Don't get cheap on me.
And if the pricing today was what it was then, I would still tell you, you don't really need to go for it. Because I remember when this was first coming out, there were a number of different stores that were taking like pre-orders for Assad Zanzibar. They were like, oh, you wanna get that? You wanna get that new Assad? You can pre-order it. Because they knew it was gonna be a hot ticket item. So you had different stores that were like taking, I think, $80 orders or something for this. And it was just like, what? For a new Lattafa? That's what we're doing now? Okay. And so initially, you know, people that were getting this in, and I got it when it was like, first coming out, it didn't feel like a very good deal because you were paying $80 for it and other places wanted like 60, 70, but it was right around there. We'll just say 60 to like 80, 85. It was in that range depending on where you looked. And then you got it in and it was like, just felt a little off. Like the fragrance, something just wasn't jiving quite right and it just was not a good buy for a lot of people. Now what's happened is the price has dropped. You can find this for like 25 bucks or under. I mean, there's still some places that are charging, you know, 30, 35, 40, but if you look, you can find it around, like I said, 25, 23, somewhere in there. So that price is reasonable now. And also the fragrances have had a chance to sit for a second and smell, again, better put together. They don't have that funky, kind of off-putting vibe that some of them had as they headed from the opening into the headed. So now the fragrance just smells overall higher quality. It's still very sweet, and while it is a tropical type scent, with how strong it is, I don't think I'd be wearing that in summer. It's sweet, a little bit salty, coconutty, fresh, vanilla in there as well. And because it has pretty good performance, I know a lot of people would think of this as a summertime scent, but maybe I'd want to wear it like in the evening in the summertime or spring and fall. So while this one is a much better buy nowadays because the price is like a third of what it used to be and it doesn't smell as funky and now actually smells like a proper fragrance, would I put it, you know, right outside the top 3 of the whole year? No, I wouldn't. But as I said, this once made no sense at all, and now it makes a ton of sense. Number 3, Green Stravaganza. Born in Roma, Green Stravaganza. And this is another one that was a bit of a surprise to see in the top 3. Like, oh, okay. Now, it's not that it's a bad fragrance. It isn't. It's not bad at all. And for some people out there, Born in Roma Green Stravaganza is actually gonna be a better buy than Coral Fantasy or Yellow Dream or Womo Intense or the original, because this one approaches things a bit differently. It's not quite as sweet as those. It still has sweetness, just not as much. And you have a little green coffee in there off the top, which gives it an interesting twist. It's not like a big roast coffee or anything like that, no burnt edges or anything. And as it dries down, you get vetiver that comes out, very easygoing, you know, not a dry, smoky vetiver or anything. Opening's pretty good, attractive, easy to wear. There are some drawbacks here. Performance is not amazing on this one. So, you know, it's not gonna project heavily and it's not gonna last for a real long time. The opening dissipates pretty quickly. For my own personal taste, I like Born in Roma Intense more. I like Coral Fantasy more. I think I'd go Yellow Dream over this one as well. But again, it has its lovers. People that don't like the overt sweetness of the other ones may lean more toward this one. It's absolutely worth checking out, 100%. Give it some wears off your skin, see how it works for you. When I first got this in, did first impressions, I liked it, but it's just, as far as the hierarchy of the line goes, you know, it wasn't up toward the top, it was down a little bit. And I still feel that way about it now. That said, it's still gonna have that built-in wearability, you know, that type of scent that just about everybody's gonna enjoy. Nobody's really gonna smell this and think, oh, well, you know, it's off-putting, it's weird, it's divisive. You're not gonna get that with this one, so it's pretty safe. Top 3? Not for me. But again, I could see where some people would really dig that one. It does make me wonder though, like, did we have a bad year this year? I don't know. Well, actually, I do know, but we'll talk about that later. Number 2, Parfums de Parly Perseus. Yeah, Perseus. So what to say about Perseus? Well, I think this shows the power of Parfums de Marly, not in terms of their performance, it's typically pretty good too, but just in the sense of anything that they release that's a mainline men's fragrance is probably gonna get talked about. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad fragrance. That's not at all what I'm saying. I actually think it smells really good, but that's also because it reminds me a little bit of other fragrances that I love, like Terre d'Hermes Eau Givre, or even Eau Très Fraîche, also from the Terre d'Hermes line. And that's because this has a sparkling citrus off the top. Again, I think it smells really good, super appealing. Grapefruit, bergamot, orange, blackcurrant, very sparkling, vibrant, lively, and then clean, kind of dry woods as the fragrance dries down. Very modern, vetiver, cashmerean, kind of a cedary vibe. Great for spring and summer, nice daytime fragrance, very classy, and just a well-done scent, you know, top to bottom. The issue would be people saying, yeah, that's true, but it does kind of smell like PDM went, hey, what if we did a Terre d'Hermes summer scent, but we just, you know, made it a little higher quality, which has been something that people have said at times in the past about Parfums de Marly, that some of their fragrances are reminiscent of designer scents that then they give like a higher quality twist to. Not that I overly care, because if I think it smells good and I like wearing it, then I'm gonna wear it. And the same thing goes for this one. I think it smells really, really good. So Perseus, number 2, but definitely one that has its detractors. And I'd have to go back and look at everything, you know, at the end of the year, but I could see that making my top 10 for releases of the year. Let's really quickly just go over some of the ones that were left out of the top 10. The new Gentleman Society Eau de Parfum Extreme did not make the top 10. The new Acqua di Gio Profondo Parfum did not make the top 10, which, yeah. L'Homme Ideal Parfum did not make the top 10, kind of a surprise. Polo 67, the new Legend Blue, neither of those in the top 10. Bad Boy Cobalt Elixir did not make the top 10. The new Abbey Rouge Parfum did not. Again, that's from Guerlain. The new Luna Rosa Ocean Le Parfum did not. Stronger With You Tobacco did not make it. Myself Le Parfum did not make it. So I thought for sure that one would. I actually think that Myself Le Parfum is pretty good. I like that one actually. The new Amen Phantasm, bringing back the Amen in line did not make the top 10, and Sauvage Eau Forte. Now I know what you're saying, like, well, yeah, Sauvage Eau Forte, but you know, with how many people talk about it, you would think maybe it would work its way up, but nope. I missed my pocket right there. So that means that somehow, some way, in a year where a new Sauvage comes out and a new Myself comes out and a new Chanel Allure Homme Sport comes out, Super Leggera did not make the top 10. And in a year where Amen finally comes back and all these other things, none of those made the top 10. Wild. Number 1, probably not a surprise, Le Beau Paradise Garden. And that makes sense. That's obviously gonna be in my top 10 of the year. I love the stuff, think it smells fantastic. Coconut, fig, green notes, aquatic notes. Got some tonka in there as well. It's sweet, very easy to wear, fresh, sweet, compliment pulling. Bit of a hype monster, and it came out early this year. And I remember when it came out, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a good year. We're starting off with Paradise Garden, like this is where we're starting? Oh man, this is gonna be killer. Wrong. Wrong. Started off here, nowhere to go but down, I guess. Now, of course, there are a lot of really good releases this year. I'm just saying that when the year started, I remember like this one was pretty early, this one was pretty early, and I was just thinking to myself, like, man, this is gonna be a fire year. And this is probably the one that all of you thought was gonna be number 1. So again, not a surprise, not a ton to talk about with this guy. It's just been basically the number 1 release of the year since it came out as far as popularity. So there we go, guys. Those are the top 10 as of right now. As of when I'm shooting this video, it'll be interesting to see like a year from now, which of these maintain their positions or move up and which ones fall out. Thank you all for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.